Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on web hosting by Intellipaat. Having a good website hosting is essential so your brand can offer a quality service to the public. Hosting can be used for many applications such as systems, virtual stores, blogs, websites, with advantages ranging from better performance to greater security as well. Website hosting is the network environment in which website data and files are stored so that it can be found on the internet. In this session, you will learn all about web hosting and its components. So without further ado, let's start with the session.
Hello everyone, welcome to Intellipaat's YouTube channel. In this session, we will go through the nitty-gritties of web hosting. As we all know, making a website is not an easy task. You have to decide on what you're going to do with the front end and then with the back end as well. And the most important, you'll have to think about how you're going to host that website for everyone else to see. So let's take a look at the agenda for this session. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get latest updates from Intellipaat. First of all, you're going to start with the basic introduction to what exactly is web hosting. And after that, we're going to talk about how web hosting actually works. After this, we will learn about various types of web hosting, and then we're going to learn about some of the web hosting services. To sum up this session, we're going to discuss a few web hosting websites. I hope the agenda is clear to you guys. So without any further ado, let's begin. So what is web hosting? To understand web hosting, we must understand how the information is transmitted on the internet. For any website to show any information to the users or the traffic, there is going to be a web server which is dedicated to store the information. The IP addresses play an important role here, and that's how the communication is done to access any information related to the website from the web server. Now, this is kind of a tricky part, and without the web servers, the internet that we know today will cease to exist, since every website on the internet needs a web server to display their information to the end users. Now, coming back to our session, web hosting is a process in which a hosting company sets up a web server where you can lease or rent a disk space where you will store your information, such as user data, databases, and other necessary information on your website. And whenever a visitor accesses your website, the information will be loaded from the web hosting server and onto the web page. And now that we know what exactly is web hosting, let's dig a little deeper and understand how web hosting actually works. Creating a website is just one side of the coin. To be able to showcase it to the world and for everyone to access it on the internet, you would need just a couple of things. First one is the domain name, which will be a unique name for your website that users will use to browse on the internet. Most of the time, the domain name will be included on the web hosting service. After this comes the most crucial part of creating a website. That is also a very necessary part of the end game, which is hosting your website on a web server. Now, you can get this done either by setting up a web server yourself, store all the necessary information, files, and databases that you would like for your traffic to interact with. But there are a lot of limitations to this process. Primarily, the entire process can be a little expensive. And for small businesses and individuals, this is an unnecessary expense that they can surely avoid. The alternative to this is getting a lease on a company's web server that will do the exact same thing that a personal web server would do. But in addition to these, the company will also provide the following services. First is storage. So you will get the storage service for your files and information related to the website. This service closely relates to getting a disk space on any web server for easier retrieval of the information. Next up, we have security. So the other promising service is security that you will get with any web hosting service. This makes sure that the server keeps running at all times for uninterrupted data retrieval from the web server. This includes security from data theft, physical damages to the server, any other unprecedented hazard to the web servers. Next up, we have bandwidth. So a bandwidth is how much data gets transferred at one particular time. And you get to decide the frequency of the bandwidth, which also coincides with the total amount of data that must be transmitted in a period of time. So this is also one of the services that you get while web hosting. And after that, we have a control panel. So a control panel is nothing but a tool that will help you manage your hosting services. You can add applications and manage other aspects like domain names for your website and email services, etc. Having a control panel as a web hosting service makes the job easier by providing very easy implementation by just logging into the web server. After that, we have the domain name, and you can get the domain name registered from the web hosting provider. A domain name is nothing but a unique identifier for your website that will be used by the users while they are browsing the internet. And this domain name usually stays valid for a year's time, and after that you're going to have to renew the domain name according to whatever requirement is for your website. And after that, we have the IP addresses. So the hosting company provides shared and dedicated IP addresses for easier access to the web servers. Then again, we have email service, and which is also nothing but a web hosting company that is going to provide the email services for your entire website. This could come in bulk, or there'll be some limitations on these as well. And last but not the least, we have the build tools. So this is basically another service that includes building tools and support to help you create new features and maintain the website. So these are all the services that will be included in a typical web hosting company that are going to provide all these services to you. Now, to be able to get so much from a different company's web server is a bliss to so many around the world. More than 90% of the websites host their website on a different company's web server for additional benefits, and it actually saves them a lot of cash which they're going to spend in creating and maintaining their own web servers. And now that we know how web hosting works, let's take a look at different types of web hosting available to us in the current times. So according to how web servers manage the information, or how it is stored on the web server, so the following can be summarized as the types of web hosting services, which is dedicated server, shared server, virtual private server, cloud server, and co-location server. The dedicated server hosting will provide full access to the website owner because they are assigned the entire web server to store their website information. And this is basically the best choice for getting full control on the web server, but then again, it can cost a lot of money to the website owners. After this, we have a shared server. And in a shared server, multiple websites can store their information on a single web server. This is the most suitable for any small business owners and freelancers since it does not cost a lot of money to set it up. And although it may cause a few shortcomings with respect to usage, since multiple websites are stored on the same server, a sudden spike in the traffic can result in a few shortcomings. After this, we have the virtual private server. So the virtual private server, or a VPS, is the closest link between a dedicated server and a shared server. The website is hosted on a unique space on the web server, although physically sharing the space with other websites at the same time. And it creates a little more control and customization than the shared servers, but it is not entirely a dedicated server for the websites. So if you want to have the feel of a dedicated server, but you don't want an entire web server dedicated to your website, you can go for this virtual private server hosting service. After this, we have the cloud server. So the cloud servers are the new type of hosting services available for website owners. And in a cloud server, the network allows the website owners to use the applications in the form of a utility. And the advantage of using this is the owners can decide which utility they want to opt for. And this is also one of the most used web hosting service that people are using nowadays. And last but not least, we have the co-location server. And the co-location servers are hosted in various locations where everything from web servers, security, the bandwidth is available in a highly secure environment. So you're basically placing your server in a different location where everything will be taken care of. The website owners opt for the co-location servers mainly to get the servers in a very highly secure environment. And now that we are done with the types of web hosting, let's take a look at a few web hosting websites that we have. And some of the most popular we have listed down, like GoDaddy. Then there is WP Engine. Then we have DreamHost. Then again we have HostGator. And last but not least, we have listed down Bluehost. So these are only a few web hosting services that are available on the internet. Otherwise, you can go for hundreds of options that are available to you according to your requirements and the web hosting services that you require. Some will require your security, some will give you a DNS name, some will come with email service. There will be support, control panel, and all these services that you have to consider while buying any web hosting service. So with this, we have reached the end of the session, guys. And if you have any questions, you can mention them in the comment section below. And we'll be happy to help you in your journey in learning web hosting and all in all creating a website for your business, or it could be for any purpose. Thank you and have a nice day.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides full stack web development course in collaboration with ENICT IIT Guwahati. The course link of which is given in the description below.
Now that we are done with the session, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on Intellipaat.